What happens when two entertainment legends clash in the most unexpected way possible? When respect turns to tension, when professionalism crumbles, and when a simple interview becomes a battleground that nobody saw coming. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking moments in daytime television history, a moment that left audiences stunned and social media buzzing for weeks. This isn't just about a disagreement. This is about pride, legacy, and what happens when two powerhouses refuse to back down. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what you think about celebrity feuds. Because trust me, you're going to want to share your thoughts after hearing what went down between these two icons. So picture this: Jennifer Hudson's talk show, a place known for uplifting conversations and positive energy. The guest today is none other than the legendary LL Cool J, a man who's been dominating the entertainment industry for decades. Hip-hop pioneer, actor, television host, the man has done it all. He's sitting across from Jennifer, someone he's known and respected for years, expecting what should be a standard promotional interview for his latest project. The conversation starts off normal enough. Jennifer opens with her usual warm energy, complimenting his long career and asking about his current ventures. LL Cool J is in his element, charming as always, discussing his new business endeavors and reflecting on his journey from Queens to Hollywood stardom. The audience is engaged. Everything seems to be going perfectly according to script. But then Jennifer shifts gears. She brings up a topic that clearly wasn't discussed in the pre-interview, something that immediately changes the entire energy in the room. She starts talking about authenticity in hip-hop, about artists who've maintained their credibility versus those who've, quote, sold out for mainstream success. Now here's where things get interesting. Instead of asking a direct question, Jennifer makes what can only be described as a pointed statement. She talks about how some artists from the golden era of hip-hop managed to stay true to their roots while others, and she pauses here for effect, chose commercial success over artistic integrity. LL Cool J's entire demeanor shifts. You can see it in his body language, the way he sits back in his chair, the slight tightening around his eyes. This is a man who's been in the game long enough to recognize a setup when he sees one, and he's clearly not appreciating the direction this conversation is heading. He responds with measured words, but there's an edge to his voice that wasn't there moments before. He talks about how evolution isn't selling out, how adapting to different mediums and reaching broader audiences is actually a sign of versatility, not weakness. His tone is still professional, but anyone watching can sense the tension building. Jennifer doesn't back down. In fact, she doubles down. She brings up specific examples, talking about how some artists from his era maintained their edge, while others, and again she doesn't name names directly, seem to soften their image for television and family-friendly projects. The implication is crystal clear, even though she never says his name explicitly. This is where LL Cool J's legendary composure starts to crack. He leans forward, his voice taking on a sharper edge as he asks Jennifer directly what she's trying to insinuate. The atmosphere in the studio becomes electric. You can practically feel the tension through the screen. Jennifer, perhaps realizing she's struck a nerve but unwilling to retreat, continues her line of questioning. She asks him about the balance between staying authentic. The silence in the studio is deafening, but it doesn't last long. LL Cool J breaks it with words that cut through the tension like a knife. He tells Jennifer that she's out of line, that she clearly doesn't understand the difference between evolution and selling out. His voice is controlled, but there's fire behind it, the kind of intensity that made him a legend in the first place. Jennifer's response is equally sharp. She tells him that maybe the problem isn't her understanding. Maybe the problem is his inability to acknowledge what everyone else can see. She suggests that perhaps his defensive reaction is proof that her questions hit closer to home than he's comfortable admitting. This is the moment where professionalism completely breaks down. LL Cool J stands up from his chair not to leave, but to make his point more emphatically. He towers over the interview setup, his presence commanding the entire studio as he delivers what can only be described as a verbal masterclass in defending one's legacy. He starts listing his achievements, but not in a bragging way, more like evidence in a court case. He talks about being one of the first rappers to successfully transition to acting, about maintaining relevance across multiple decades, about influencing countless artists who came after him. Each point is delivered with precision, building a case for why Jennifer's implications are not just wrong, but insulting. But Jennifer isn't intimidated. Still seated, she looks up at him and delivers perhaps the most cutting line of the entire exchange. She tells him that listing accomplishments isn't the same as addressing the question, and that maybe his need to defend himself so aggressively is exactly what she's talking about. The camera captures LL Cool J's face as those words hit him. For just a moment, you can see something shift. A flash of genuine hurt mixed with anger. This isn't just about professional disagreement anymore. This has become personal, and everyone watching can feel it. He sits back down, but his posture is different now, more aggressive, leaning forward like a predator ready to strike. He asks Jennifer directly what gives her the right to question his authenticity, what qualifications she has to judge his career choices. He points out that she's been famous for less than 2 decades, while he's been building his legacy for over 4. Jennifer's comeback is swift and brutal. She tells him that authenticity isn't about how long you've been famous. It's about staying true to your core values, regardless of opportunities that come your way. She suggests that maybe his problem isn't with her questions, but with his own answers. The exchange that follows is rapid fire, with both of them speaking over each other at times. LL Cool J accuses Jennifer of ambushing him with questions that weren't part of their agreed-upon interview topics. Jennifer fires back that real journalists ask real questions, not just softball promotional material. He challenges her definition of real journalism, pointing out that this is a daytime talk show, not investigative reporting. She responds by saying that maybe that's the problem with celebrity interviews today. Too much fluff and not enough substance. The personal attacks start here. LL Cool J questions whether Jennifer's own career moves have always been about artistic integrity or commercial opportunity. He brings up her decision to take on certain roles, certain endorsements, asking whether she's really in a position to judge anyone else's choices. Jennifer doesn't flinch. Instead, she turns the conversation back to him, asking specifically about his transition from hardcore rap to family-friendly television. She asks whether he honestly believes his music from the 80s would recognize the image he projects today. This is where LL Cool J's famous cool completely evaporates. He tells Jennifer that she's crossed a line, that she's disrespecting not just him, but his entire contribution to hip-hop culture. His voice rises as he explains that adaptation isn't betrayal, that reaching broader audiences doesn't diminish artistic credibility. But Jennifer pushes further. She asks him point-blank whether he's proud of every career choice he's made, whether there's anything he would do differently if he could go back. The question is delivered with surgical precision, designed to force him into either admitting regret or defending decisions that might be indefensible. LL Cool J's response is explosive. He tells Jennifer that he's proud of everything he's built, every door he's opened, every barrier he's broken. He says that maybe her problem isn't with his choices, but with her own insecurities about selling out. The personal nature of that attack visibly rocks Jennifer. For the first time in the interview, she seems genuinely thrown off balance. But instead of backing down, she comes back harder. She tells him that projecting his own issues onto her doesn't answer the question, and that maybe his anger is proof that he knows she's right. The studio audience is completely captivated now, watching two entertainment titans tear each other apart with words. The energy has shifted from uncomfortable tension to genuine hostility, and neither Jennifer nor LL Cool J seems capable of pulling back from the precipice they've created. LL Cool J makes one final attempt at taking control of the narrative. He tells Jennifer that she's clearly prepared for this ambush, that she's trying to create a viral moment at his expense. He accuses her of using his name and reputation to generate buzz for her show. Jennifer's response is devastating. She tells him that if he can't handle honest questions about his career, maybe he shouldn't be doing interviews. She suggests that his reaction proves he's lost touch with the authenticity he claims to represent. The words hang in the air like a gauntlet thrown down, and everyone in that studio knows that something irreversible has just happened. LL Cool J's face shows a mixture of rage and disbelief, while Jennifer sits back in her chair with the satisfied expression of someone who knows they've landed a killing blow. What happens next will shock everyone watching, because this legendary figure is about to do something that nobody, absolutely nobody, saw coming. The studio falls into an eerie silence as LL Cool J processes what Jennifer just said. His face goes through a series of emotions: anger, disbelief, and something that looks almost like betrayal. When he finally speaks, his voice is dangerously quiet, the kind of calm that comes before a storm. He tells Jennifer that she's just made the biggest mistake of her career, not because of what she said, but because of how she said it. He explains that there's a difference between challenging someone and disrespecting them, and that she's clearly chosen the latter. Jennifer, perhaps realizing that she's pushed too far, tries to dial back the intensity. She tells him that she's simply asking the questions that fans and critics have been asking for years. She claims that as a fellow artist, she has every right to explore these topics with him. But LL Cool J isn't buying it. He tells her that if she wanted to have that conversation, she should have been upfront about it from the beginning. He accuses her of setting up an ambush under the guise of a friendly promotional interview. This is where Jennifer makes her fatal error. Instead of acknowledging his point, she doubles down one more time. She tells him that maybe the real issue is that he's become too comfortable with softball interviews, too used to people treating him with kid gloves instead of asking the hard questions. The words hit LL Cool J like a physical blow. He stands up again, but this time it's different. This time he's not trying to make a point, he's preparing to leave. He tells Jennifer that she's lost his respect, not just as an interviewer, but as a person. Jennifer realizes she's miscalculated. She quickly tries to salvage the situation, telling him that she meant no disrespect, that she's always admired his work. But her words sound hollow now, damage control rather than genuine sentiment. LL Cool J's response is ice cold. He tells her that respect isn't something you can take back once it's gone. He says that she had the opportunity to have a meaningful conversation about artistic evolution, but instead she chose to attack his character. The audience can feel the finality in his words. This isn't just anger anymore, this is disappointment, and somehow that feels even worse. Jennifer makes one last desperate attempt to keep him in his seat, asking him to help her understand his perspective, rather than walking away from the conversation. But LL Cool J has reached his breaking point. He tells her that some conversations can't be fixed once they've been poisoned. He says that she came into this interview with an agenda, and that agenda wasn't about understanding, it was about tearing him down. Jennifer's voice rises as she insists that wasn't her intention. She tells him that she's been a fan of his work since she was a child, that she would never intentionally disrespect someone she's looked up to for so long. But even as she says it, both of them know it's too late. LL Cool J delivers what amounts to his closing argument. He tells Jennifer that intentions don't matter when the impact is destructive. He says that she had the power to conduct an interview that elevated both of them, but instead she chose to create drama. He points out that this conversation will be remembered not for any insights about music or culture, but for the conflict she manufactured. He tells her that she sacrificed a meaningful dialogue for a viral moment, and that choice says everything about who she's become as an interviewer. Jennifer tries one final time to redirect the conversation. She asks him to sit back down, to give her another chance to approach the topic differently. She admits that maybe she could have phrased her questions better, but maintains that the underlying issues are still worth discussing. But LL Cool J has heard enough. He tells her that the time for different approaches was before she decided to attack his integrity. He says that you can't unring a bell, and that some words can't be taken back once they've been spoken. The moment everyone has been waiting for arrives without fanfare. LL Cool J simply states that this interview is over. There's no dramatic declaration, no shouting, just a quiet statement of fact that hits harder than any outburst could have. He starts to remove his microphone, and that simple action sends shockwaves through the studio. Jennifer realizes that he's actually leaving, that this isn't a negotiating tactic or a dramatic pause. This is the real end of the interview. She makes one final plea, telling him that walking away won't solve anything, that they're both professional enough to work through this disagreement. But LL Cool J's response is swift and final. He tells her that professionalism is exactly what's been missing from this conversation. As he hands his microphone to a stunned production assistant, he delivers his parting words to Jennifer. He tells her that she had the opportunity to learn something today, but instead she chose to teach a lesson about disrespect. He says that lesson will be remembered long after this interview is forgotten. The camera captures Jennifer's face as those words sink in. The confident interviewer who started this conversation is gone, replaced by someone who clearly realizes they've made a catastrophic error in judgment. LL Cool J turns toward the studio exit, leaving Jennifer sitting alone at the interview desk. The audience is frozen in place, unsure whether to applaud, gasp, or simply sit in stunned silence as they witness the end of what started as a routine promotional appearance. But he's not quite finished. Just before reaching the edge of the set, LL Cool J turns back one final time, and what he says next will be the moment that defines this entire confrontation. LL Cool J pauses at the edge of the set, his back still turned to Jennifer and the cameras. The silence stretches for what feels like an eternity before he slowly turns around. His expression is calm now, but there's something in his eyes that makes everyone in that studio hold their breath. He looks directly at Jennifer and delivers words that will be quoted and analyzed for years to come. He tells her that she wanted to know about authenticity, about staying true to who you are. He says that walking away from disrespect, refusing to participate in character assassination disguised as journalism, that's what authenticity looks like. Jennifer opens her mouth to respond, but LL Cool J isn't finished. He continues, explaining that real artists don't tear each other down for entertainment value. He tells her that she's confused creating controversy with creating content, and that confusion will define her legacy if she's not careful. The weight of his words settles over the studio like a heavy blanket. Jennifer finally finds her voice, but it comes out smaller than before. She tells him that she never intended for things to escalate this way, that she was simply trying to have an honest conversation about the music industry. LL Cool J's response is swift and cutting. He tells her that honest conversations don't start with ambushes. He says that if she wanted to discuss the evolution of hip-hop, she could have done it without questioning his integrity, or implying that his success somehow diminishes his authenticity. He takes a step back toward the interview area, but not to sit down. Instead, he positions himself where both Jennifer and the cameras can capture his final statement clearly. He tells the audience, speaking directly to them now rather than to Jennifer, that they've just witnessed something important. He explains that this moment represents everything wrong with modern celebrity culture. He says that genuine conversation has been replaced by gotcha journalism, that respect has been sacrificed for viral moments, and that the pursuit of engagement has poisoned meaningful dialogue. Jennifer tries to interject, attempting to defend her approach, but LL Cool J silences her with a look that could freeze fire. He tells her that she's had her say, that she's asked her questions and made her implications. Now it's time for her to listen. He addresses the audience again, telling them that they deserve better than manufactured drama. He says that real entertainment comes from authentic connection, not from watching people tear each other apart for sport. His voice carries the authority of someone who's been in the game long enough to know the difference. Then he turns back to Jennifer one final time. He tells her that she's talented enough to be better than this, that her platform could be used to elevate rather than destroy. He says that this interview will be remembered as the moment she chose conflict over connection, and that choice will follow her career forever. Jennifer's eyes fill with what might be tears, though whether they're from anger, embarrassment, or regret is impossible to tell. She tries one last time to salvage something from this disaster, telling him that she hopes they can have a real conversation someday, away from cameras and pressure. But LL Cool J has moved beyond forgiveness. He tells her that some opportunities only come once, and that she's wasted hers. He says that trust, once broken, can't be rebuilt with good intentions and hollow apologies. He begins walking toward the exit again, but this time there's no hesitation in his step. The production crew scrambles to figure out what to do, cameras still rolling, capturing every moment of this unprecedented breakdown of a television interview. As he reaches the studio door, LL Cool J delivers his final blow. Without turning around, he tells Jennifer that she asked whether his younger self would recognize him today. He says that question works both ways, and suggests that maybe she should ask herself the same thing. The door closes behind him with a quiet click that somehow sounds louder than any slam could have. The studio remains frozen for several long seconds, everyone processing what they've just witnessed. Jennifer sits alone at the interview desk, staring at the door through which one of entertainment's biggest legends just walked out of her show. The cameras continue rolling, capturing her struggle to regain composure. She tries to address the audience, to somehow transition back to normal programming, but her words come out fragmented and uncertain. The confident host who started this interview is nowhere to be found. In the control room, producers are frantically deciding whether to cut to commercial, end the show, or try to salvage something from this train wreck. But there's nothing to salvage. This interview is over, and everyone knows it. The aftermath of this confrontation will dominate entertainment news cycles, social media discussions, and industry conversations for months. It will be analyzed, dissected, and debated by everyone from casual fans to industry professionals. Some will side with Jennifer, arguing that she was asking legitimate questions about artistic integrity. Others will defend LL Cool J, claiming that he was ambushed and had every right to walk away from disrespectful treatment. But regardless of which side people choose, one thing is absolutely certain. This 20-minute conversation between two entertainment powerhouses has created a moment that will be remembered as one of the most shocking confrontations in television history. It's a masterclass in how quickly professionalism can crumble, how respect can evaporate, and how words, once spoken, can never be taken back. The interview that was supposed to promote LL Cool J's latest project instead became a defining moment for both of their careers. A reminder that even the biggest stars are human beings with limits, boundaries, and breaking points. What do you think about this explosive confrontation? Did Jennifer cross the line with her questioning, or was LL Cool J too sensitive to legitimate criticism? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories from the world of entertainment that you won't believe actually happened.